Today I'm going to show you how to make a Star Wars Force Ghost photo. And don't worry if you're not a photo editing grandmaster, it looks a lot more challenging than what it actually is. But before we can think about editing, we'll have to actually take the pictures that we'll be working with. And again, there are many ways of doing this, but I will share with you the way I decided to do it this time. The effect might look cooler in a night or sunset scene, because it will stand out better from the background. If you go with the night scene, then you might have to use some extra lighting and stuff, because you still need the person to be lit for this to work. We'll have to get two photos, one of just the background and then one of the subject. The background doesn't have to be identical in these photos. The most important thing is that the lighting and the angle would be the same. You can totally do this handheld if you have someone to help you, but if you're doing it alone, like I did, then it's easiest to do it with a tripod. This is where the fun begins. For this, all you need is an editing program and some time. I'm using Photoshop, but there are many free alternatives which can do the exact same thing. After importing both pictures into the same project, the first thing to do is to crop out the person who will become one with the Force in this picture. A pro tip here is to make another layer with a solid color so that you can see the edges better. Another tip is to use a feathered eraser once you get to the hair, that way the edges will look a lot better. If you have anything in the picture that is in front of the subject, cut it out on a layer above everything else. Next you'll lower the opacity of the cutout subject, and then you will duplicate it and change the blending mode to screen. You can put the opacity higher on this second cutout. Then duplicate this cutout too. Now when the base work is done and we have 3 duplicates of the cutout, it's time to add color. You do this by making another layer, make it a clipping mask above cutout 3, fill this layer with a light blue color and change the blending mode to overlay. If you want, you can erase the color around the face and add a Gaussian blur to smoothen it out. Then create another clipping mask layer and add another solid color. At this point you can play around with the opacity of all layers and see what looks good. The next thing to do is to add a glowing effect. Start with putting another clipping mask on cutout 3, put the blending mode to screen and choose either a white or very bright light blue color and go around the edges with an airbrush. Then go to layer style and add outer glow to cutout 3. Make the glow white and not very spread out. Add a outer glow to cutout 2 as well. This time make the color a bit more blue and the size of the glow bigger and the opacity down a little. And finally add a low opacity outer glow to cutout 1. This one even bigger than the last one. There isn't really a correct way to do this, and you might have to play around with different effects, adjustment layers and blending modes before you get something that you are happy with. If you're struggling with this, you can also put up some reference pictures so that you can try to make it look similar. The final step is to draw around the edges of the subject on a new layer under all the cutout layers. Put the blending mode to screen and draw with an airbrush and light blue color. You don't have to be too precise because the color will be spread out with a Gaussian blur. You can do this multiple times until you are happy with the result. And here you can also try out some different blending modes and see what looks good. I ended up using screen and hard light. And there we have it, the final result. If you want to learn how to make a Force levitation photo, then watch this video right here. Otherwise, I hope I'll see you again next week.